This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Samantha says, "Hi Prof, my friend had DOR at the age of 27. Is IVF and embryo banking necessary? Is this an immune issue? Thank you for answering."
A DOR?
DOR stands for Diminished Ovarian Reserve.
Oh, right.
And she asks, statistically speaking, how many good eggs should a 41-year-old still have?
At 41, a diminished ovarian reserve is again, we just were talking about AMH. She's talking about diminished ovarian reserve. Probably the doctors that measured it, and it's probably 1 or 2.
Yes, the earlier question did ask about DOR for a 27-year-old person, right. But then the next question seems to be a separate one, which is asking what typically should a 41-year-old have. So when we do IVF on a 41-year-old, our average egg yield is going to be 4 or 5 eggs. There are exceptions. I've had a lady just recently who's got 14 eggs. I've got a lady, in fact, who's 45, who's now had 3 cycles, and she's producing 12 eggs each time, 12 to 14 eggs each time. Sadly, she's not getting pregnant, but because at the end of the day, she's only producing 1 or 2 embryos. And with a 98% chance that they're abnormal, then she's not, the chance of pregnancy are very small. At 41, with 4 or 5 eggs as an average, pregnancies with IVF should be in the order of 15% per embryo transfer. If you're a lucky lady and you produce 12 eggs, it's likely you may end up with 2 embryos, which then obviously doubles your chances of ending up having a baby. Various reasons why women in their early or late 20s would be seeking egg freezing or embryo freezing. It started out probably a decade ago with us doing it for women who were about to undergo cancer therapy, which potentially would make their ovaries run out of eggs. And delaying chemotherapy for 10 days to a fortnight and starting treatment enables us to collect eggs or and then create embryos if they have a partner, and give them a chance in the future of having a baby. I've got a patient at the moment, in fact, who 6 years ago had breast cancer at the age of 26. And before she started chemotherapy, we created 4 embryos, and they're sitting in storage. Having finished her chemotherapy, she's come back now. Unfortunately, she's menopausal at the age of 32 because of the chemotherapy. But she does have the chance of a baby because she's got 4 embryos sitting in the freezer. We'll be starting her treatment in the next month. Hopefully bring joy to her. I actually have another question from Angelina. She asks if 42 is too late.
I was about to say it's never too late. Well, it can get to the point of being too late. But at 42, there are a number of factors that come into play. The first one is the number of eggs that you have in your ovaries, and that's why we measure something called AMH. AMH reflects the egg numbers. And if that's a good number, like by a good number I mean 5 to 10, then doing IVF means we're going to collect 5 to 10 eggs. And if that's the case, there is a chance of pregnancy. Of all women at 42 who start IVF, probably about 25% will end up with a baby, provided the sperm's good and provided they have any eggs at all. Each cycle, the success rate of it, putting 1 embryo back at 42 is something in the order of 10 to 12%. So it's not very high, but if you're lucky and you can produce more embryos than just the 1, then obviously your chances of success. It is a numbers game, but spontaneous pregnancies happen at 42, although the success rate per month naturally is probably about 1 or 2% per month. So over a 12-month period, it's gets around the 10 to 20% mark.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.
Thank you for listening to the IVF Journey with Dr. Michael Chapman, the podcast which helps couples negotiate their way through the IVF journey, all the way to parenthood. You can also ask questions by contacting Dr. Chapman's rooms on 1800 111 483 or by emailing him michael.chapman@ivf.com.au.